All right, I think we're about ready. So good. All right. Meeting in order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of the Westminster's Mayor and Common Council. The council meets here at historic City Hall on the second and fourth Monday of every month. Please note that council meetings are open to the public here at City Hall, and they are also available and streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as a community media center channel and website. As a courtesy to everyone, if you'll take a moment, please silence any electronic devices you have that might make some noise. And now, as we will begin, as we do every meeting, with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Copy of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the City Council will be using this evening are available online on the city's website. I believe there are copies of the agenda here at the front of the room. If anyone needs a copy, make sure you grab one. And the first order of business will be special guests. And this evening we have, as we always do for McDaniel, pretty much every month, we have someone from McDaniel. And we're very fortunate to have the person who actually runs the college, Ann Benevento. So she's the eminence gris of McDaniel College for sure.
I don't know about that.
I believe you have a guest with you, Leah.
Yeah.
Leah, is it Somerville?
Yeah.
Okay. So the floor is yours. Anything you want to talk to us about? Have at it.
Wonderful.
So hi everyone, I'm Erin Benevento. I am thrilled to be the Chief of Staff to our President at McDaniel, Julia Jaskin. And one of the great elements that we started with in the last few years at McDaniel is a President's Advisory Council of Students, a small group of students who applied and were interviewed and came recommended by faculty and staff to just spend time in our office and share thoughts, ideas, concerns, just keeping communication open. And Leah is one of our students on the President's Advisory Council. Would you like to say who you are?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Somerville. I'm currently a junior at McDaniel. I'm studying political science, studying Spanish as well for my minor. I am also a member of the President's Advisory Council, as Erin just said. And I just look forward to today's meeting. I have an interest in law, politics, government, that jazz. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you have noticed, McDaniel sends representatives, and this semester, thanks to an idea that Sarah Impulse and I came up with at the conference.
So where were you really?
Where was
Let's hear this.
The finances of that trip. The conference we attended, we had the idea to invite this select group of students who advise our office if they wanted to attend these meetings as well. So 2 updates on the McDaniel front. Some of you may already have heard of our Center for Experience and Opportunity office, the office that oversees our jobs and internships and volunteer database. I wanted to make sure this group is aware that the job and internship employer exploration fair is going to be October 1st from 12 to 5 p.m. virtually this year. So that will offer some extra flexibility. If you are interested in participating in this fair to get to know any McDaniel students, to fill a position of a job or internship, we are accepting interested organizations until September 20th. So I'm going to leave a couple copies of this document with the clerk, which has the link for which office to talk to for more information. But if anyone is interested, we're always looking to expand our connections database for student opportunities. And then the second is that we, now that we are into the semester and getting into the swing of things, we are so excited that one of our first big community events is Fall Fest. And we have just started sending out word to our students, faculty, and staff about the parade and joining us for that kickoff event, and then of course participating. So I think at the next meeting we have representation, we should be able to share a little more about how many student groups and students and faculty and staff are going to help with the parade. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Leah, where are you from?
I'm from Prince George's County.
Okay, not too far away. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a very robust meeting. We don't have a ton of business, so it's going to be pretty quick in and out. Yeah. I don't know, that may be good or
Don't
bad.
jinx us.
So we'll move forward to considering approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes to approve at this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting of August 26th, 2024?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilman Dayhoff and a second from Councilwoman Gilbert. Any discussion related to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. We have one item on the consent calendar this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Dayhoff and a second by Councilman Huff. Is there any discussion related to the consent calendar? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The consent calendar is approved. Move on to the report from the mayor. Madam Mayor.
Right, thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things to report on over the last 2 weeks. On Thursday, September 29th, I had the honor of swearing in our newest police officer, Officer Boggins. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Bogans, sorry. She graduated from the academy the following day. I think, over the last 3.5 years or so, I've been continually impressed by the young officers who've made the decision to join the Westminster Police Department over the last few years. And I think that speaks to the recruiting efforts of Chief Ledwell and the rest of the command staff at the Westminster Police Station. On Friday, September 30th at 6:45 a.m., Sprouts opened. This long-awaited opening was met with over 100 people who were lined up outside the door. According to the manager, people were lined up as early as 5 a.m. that morning. I was joined by council members Kevin Dayhoff, Dan Hoff, and Ann Gilbert that morning. When I stopped by a little bit later that weekend on Sunday morning at 7 before the crowds, the manager let me know that their opening weekend thus far had been amazing and they were impressed with the crowds who had turned out for the weekend. I have been busy connecting Sprouts with local producers because one of the things that they pride themselves on is having items that are locally produced. And they have just become a sponsor for the Milk Run 5K, which benefits Carroll Food Sunday. On Friday, September 6th, I attended along with council members Dan Hoff and Ann Gilbert, the 100th anniversary of the Chamber of Commerce event at the Antrim, the San Vito. I saw you there. The weather was delightful, the food was amazing, and the networking was fabulous as we enjoyed an evening celebrating the Chamber. The City of Westminster was a sponsor for this event. Saturday, September 7th, the Masonic Lodge, Door to Virtue number 46, invited me to attend their open house. I presented a proclamation in honor of their 200th anniversary of being in Westminster. In 1824, the lodge moved from Union Bridge to Westminster, and in 1971, they moved into their current location on Monroe Street. In recognition of their long history and relationship with the city, the chapter presented me with two commemorating coins. One coin is from 1971, which commemorates the date that their building opened on Monroe Street. And the other coin that they presented me commemorates their 200th anniversary of being in Westminster. So I brought these along to the meeting. We will pass them along to the clerk after the meeting here today. And just for those interested, the lodge will be dedicating their new meeting room and hosting another open house on this Thursday, September 12th. Dinner begins at 6:30 and the meeting begins at 7:30. And then last, you may have noticed the Be Kind flags on Main Street. Those flags represent the second annual kindness stroll taking place through September 29th. You can spend some time and stroll up and down Main Street, vote on your favorite Be Kind sign, And the signs can be found on business windows. I think that this event ends with, I think shortly after our Fall Fest celebration. And that's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll go ahead and move on to reports from standing committees. Mr. Dayhoff, Arts Council, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Have a meeting coming up. And then one of the really interesting events at the Arts Council is upcoming, and that's the Members Show, which always shows a great diversity of art and a lot of interesting pieces of art in that, and it's always a big attraction. And that'll be my report.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. We'll move on to Economic and Community Development. Mr. Huff.
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Huff. Finance Committee, Councilman Pecoraro is not here. I'm the vice and do not have a report. Personnel Committee, Councilman Pecoraro also chair. Councilwoman Gilbert, is there anything from that committee that you'd want to talk about?
No report from that.
Okay, sounds good. We'll move on to the Public Safety Committee report. And I do have a brief report. On August 30th, police recruit, as the mayor's already referred to, Bogan, graduated from the police academy, and she's currently completing field training in the patrol bureau under your tutelage, I assume, Captain Peter, right?
That's correct, sir.
Outstanding. Major Price and Captain Ledwell, speaking of Captain Peters, the reason he's here is Major Price and Chief Ledwell are currently attending the annual Chief of Police Association's Professional Development Conference. And I'm sure they're picking up some good tips and probably giving some good tips out as well, considering how good of a PD we have. Lieutenant Blackwell and Lieutenant Wright are currently attending the Aspiring Leaders course at the MCPA conference. This course is comprised of a number of topics designed to help prepare students to handle situations relevant to police department leadership positions. That is the conclusion of my report. We'll move on to Public Works. Councilwoman Gilbert.
Currently, our Public Works team is undergoing Fall Fest preparations. They also repaired a water main break at Spring Meadow Drive and Windswept Way, repaired a damaged catch basin in that area due to the break, and temporarily repaired the road. You will see later in the council meeting that the council will be slated to authorize a permanent repair under the new business on tonight's agenda. That's all I have for Public Works.
Go ahead and continue with Rec parts, please.
Certainly. Speaking of Fall Fest, it is just around the corner and is celebrating its 45th year, September 26th through 29th. And it is proudly sponsored by McDaniel College. This family-friendly 4-day community event is fun for everyone. The festivities kick off on Thursday at 6:55 with the Fall Fest Mile, followed immediately by marching behind the run and for the fantastic Fall Fest Parade. Other festivities will include rides, games, foods, live entertainment, a variety of craft vendors, commercial nonprofit vendors on Saturday and Sunday. Just visit westminsterfallfest.com for more details.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Technology Committee. Mr. Dayhoff.
No report, Mr.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move forward to council comments. I'm going to start off two brief things. Number one, I believe it was Councilman Huff's birthday over the past weekend, so happy birthday, Councilman Huff.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I'd also like to recognize the fact that 3 years ago, we were faced with a very difficult decision when it was time to decide on who would be the next administrator of the city. And we had a lot of good applicants, but one stood, in my opinion, I think everybody else that was involved, head and shoulders over the rest of the competition. And we were very fortunate to land this impulse 3 years ago. I believe that was 2 days ago was your actual anniversary.
Same day as my birthday.
Yeah, there you go. Right, there you go. So it was a wonderful day 3 years ago. It's been 3 great years and we appreciate everything that you do and just wanted to say thank you for the past 3 and look forward to the next 3.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and move on. We'll start right down the line. Councilman Dayhoff.
No report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gilbert.
Some of my comments were already spoken during the mayor's report. I did just want to remind everyone that the Sprouts grocery store is now open and they are an organic grocery store for those folks who kind of wonder what Sprouts is all about. So that makes for a great additional resource in our community for groceries. The milk run is going to be held on September 21st at 8:30 a.m. to benefit Carroll County Food Sunday, and that will be out at Wakefield Valley. And I believe the mayor mentioned the Chamber of Commerce anniversary, so I'll take you took care of that. Thank you very much. And the last one was, last night was the Beer, Bourbon and Bocce fundraiser that was held last night for the Historical Society. Apparently regular tournaments occur weekly and I was, can't say hounded, but probably 30 minutes worth of questioning about when we're going to get bocce playing fields.
Bocce courts.
Yeah, thank you. Bocce courts was a topic of conversation last night, so I forwarded them to you, Ms. Berger.
Thank you.
Other than that, it was a great event and the weather was wonderful. Just all weekend, the weather was absolutely amazing around here, so it added to the events we all attended. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buff.
My only comment's gonna be, I guess from a big picture standpoint, I was really excited about the Sprouts opening. I've lived here all my life. I don't think 10 years ago we would have saw something like that open in Westminster. And I guess from an economic and community development standpoint, I guess maybe I should have made this comment under that. This all builds on each other. When you have a place like Sprouts opens up, it provides more opportunity for other and more different businesses to come to town that maybe wouldn't have come to town or to the city 10 years ago. So I always get very excited when we go to an opening like that. And as the mayor said, when I arrived there was a huge line of people waiting to get in. And that thrilled me because I've often made the point to people that I think that Westminster should have more things like this, and that we are a destination in Carroll County. I grew up in New Windsor. We would go to Westminster. That's where we would do our shopping. So I think we pull people from around the region. And so I'm excited when I see something like Sprouts happens and hope that it continues to build on it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to our next item of business, which is ordinance and resolutions. We have one resolution before us this evening to adopt introduction of annex resolution number 24-09, annexation number 78. I don't think I need to read the entire description, so I'll just go ahead and turn this over to Director Depot to discuss. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it a little, then we'll go ahead and get a motion.
Okay, thank you. So High Falcon Realty Corporation, the owner and petitioner pursuant to the annotated code of Maryland, has petitioned the mayor and common council of the city of Westminster to annex into the corporate boundaries of the city approximately 6.24 acres located at 1001 Baltimore Boulevard, Westminster, Maryland. The property is currently zoned C2, Commercial Medium Intensity District in Carroll County. The petition is requesting that the annexation area be zoned B Business Zone in the city. The property is located outside city limits, but inside the water and sewer service area and is currently contiguous to the city and therefore eligible for annexation under state law. The property is currently served by city water and sewer system, but the owner proposes to redevelop the property to expand the existing automobile sales and service use and construct a new car wash use, which requires an additional water and sewer allocation. The water and sewer allocation policy requires the annexation of the property as a condition of issuing a water and sewer allocation for the expansion of the existing automobile sales and service use in the car wash at the property. Due to the time frame to prepare, submit, and obtain approval of an annexation petition, you may recall that the property owner and the city entered into an annexation agreement that outlined certain obligations of both the city and the owner prior to the annexation of the property. The mayor and common council approved the annexation agreement on December 11th, 2023. And with that, staff recommends that the mayor and common council introduce resolution number 2409 for annexation, allowing the annexation process to begin. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Can I go ahead and get a motion to introduce annex resolution 24-09?
I will make such motion.
Thank you, Councilman Huff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gilbert. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion related to the introduction of this annexation? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of introducing annex resolution number 24-09, please signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the resolution is introduced.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business. We have 2 items of new business on the agenda this evening. The first item of business is going to be presented by Councilman Huff.
Yes, thank you. I move that the common council adjourn into a closed meeting at the conclusion of the meeting of the September 9th, 2024 meeting in accordance with the general provisions article of the annotated Code of Maryland, section 3305B7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and B8, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation.
Thank you, Councilman Huff. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Day Huff. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of approving the motion by Councilman Huff, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we will move into a closed session at the conclusion of this meeting. Second order of business is an approval to waive the competitive procurement for good cause under the Westminster City Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations, to authorize C.J. Miller LLC to repair and resurface the roadway at Spring Meadow Drive and Windswept Way in a total amount of $44,802. Turn this over to Director of Public Works, Somerville.
Thank you. Approval to waive the competitive procurement for good cause under City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations, authorize C.J. Miller LLC to repair and resurface the roadway at Spring Meadow Drive and Windswept Way in the total amount of $44,802. The proposed purchase is for resurfacing the roadway on Spring Meadow Drive and Windswept Way due to damage caused by water main break on 9/2/2024. The city requested bids from 2 local paving contractors. C.J. Miller submitted a bid of $44,802, and M.T. Laney submitted a bid of $55,850. It is imperative we repair this roadway as soon as possible due to the travel conditions of the roadway and safety to the public. This roadway will continue to deteriorate until repairs are made. This project will be funded by the fiscal year 25 operating budget for utility maintenance from the water fund. Staff recommends that the mayor and common council waive the competitive procurement for good cause under the City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations, and authorize C.J. Miller LLC to repair and resurface the roadway at Spring Meadow Drive and Windswept Drive in the total amount of $44,802. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summerhill. Do I have a motion to approve the waiver of the competitive procurement for good cause?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gilbert. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Huff. Is there any discussion related to this?
Mr. President, I do have just a question, just for a little bit more background and context. What exactly, when the water main broke, I'm assuming it did something to the subsurface, or what exactly happened, and how big of an area are we repaving?
It's was quite an intensive break, and the water got under the blacktop and lifted it up. Some places 4 or 5 inches at least. And then, so once it moved to the gravel underneath, then the blacktop started breaking down, and it needs fixed.
How big of a section?
I don't know how many square feet exactly, but it's probably 50, 60 yards from where the break was on down that hill.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it just totally messed up the subbase.
It really did.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or discussion related to this? Just one quick note on my part then. I just want to make a note that just because we're waiving the competitive process for good cause, it doesn't mean we're not getting, as you heard, a competitive bid. We did that. It just means we're not going through the lengthy, drawn-out process to put it out there, because obviously it's a bit of an urgent need, so we want to do it quickly, and this allows us to do that. So, hearing no other discussion, I'll go ahead and call for the vote to approve this process. All those in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and you can move forward with repaving that road, Mr. Summerhill.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on now, Ms. Imhoff, to departmental reports.
Thank you, sir. As you mentioned, I'm just celebrated my 3rd birthday with the city. I appreciate the opportunity to serve the community. I live in this area. I work in this area. I shop in this area, and I'm proud to call myself a Carroll County. And if we call ourselves that, and probably 75 years from now, I'll be considered maybe a resident.
Maybe, let's not get carried away.
Keep the bar low. I think it's a little like choosing your favorite child, but my favorite event that the Recreation and Parks Department puts on is Fall Fest. For me, it's the beginning of fall, which is the beginning of Christmas, which is the beginning of the winter season. It all starts with Fall Fest. It's my favorite. So we are going to start with Ms. Gruber, who's going to give us a little bit of insight as to the Fall Fest for this year.
Yes, Councilmember Gilbert covered mostly everything about Fall Fest that's happening, but I do just want to remind everybody we have some really great entertainment scheduled on Thursday evening. We have Poison Whiskey. Friday, we have a band called So Fetch, which is early 90s music. And on Saturday is Kanye Twitty, not Conway Twitty. Please don't get too excited. I had a brand new staff person go, "How did we get Conway Twitty for Fall Fest?" And I said, no, it's Kanye Twitty. She's like, oh.
I'm not sure he's still alive.
So these are all excellent musical acts, and we also have our VIP fire pit experience going on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights while those musicians are playing. So if you're interested in a reserved space and some yummy supplies to make s'mores, that is an opportunity that is awaiting anyone who may be interested. And then please don't forget to join us on Saturday and Sunday for our vendor, artisan, and craft show. That happens on Saturday from 10 to 5 and on Sunday from noon to 6. And we hope that we get our entire festival in this year, because last year we did have a bit of an interruption with weather where we lost Saturday and Sunday. So here's hoping that this beautiful weather that Councilmember Gilbert commented on persists. And either way, we'll get in what we can if it takes a nosedive. So that ends my report, unless anyone has any questions.
He died 31 years ago, so that would be quite a feat. 1994.
That's far up. That's great.
If anybody's going to make that happen, it'd be Ms. Group.
Hologram.
Raise.
100%.
All right, hearing no questions for the Recreation Department, we will move on to the Public Works Department. Mr. Summerhill.
Thank you. So on Labor Day, we had a water leak at the intersection of Windswept and Spring Meadow Drive. Both utilities and street department crews were on site. They worked fantastic. They worked very well together, and they quickly repaired the leak. We had 14 houses out of water for about 2 hours. So thank you to the council tonight for tonight's vote to have the street repaired expeditiously, and we're hoping the contractor will start this week. Get this done. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the Public Works Department? Hearing none, we'll move on to the IT Department. Mr. Moore.
I do not have a report tonight, but I would have if anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions? Mr. President, we heard you. We're moving right along. Well, we're on to the Planning Department now. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ready to go.
I,
Go ahead, please.
I just want to share a couple of things with, the mayor, council, and the audience. And you may recall about a year ago in December, we closed our waiting list. And, that was because we had almost 900 families on the waiting list. And as of today, it's down to 250.
Oh, wow.
So we will probably, before the year is out, we will be opening the waiting list again. But one of the things I wanted to share with you all, I thought was really, well, I think for me, it was a success story. We had a person that was on our waiting list, and this individual had been on the waiting list for a number of years. And just about this past year, about every other week, he would come to the office to find out what the status was on the waiting list. Well, we pulled his name off the waiting list about a month ago. He is now in a house. He was homeless previously, had been living on the street. And he got his voucher. He found an apartment. And one of the amazing things was when he found the apartment, I don't know how it got around, but the people in the neighborhood and the community that in the apartment where he moved into, they made sure that when he moved in, his refrigerator had food in it, that there was furniture and clothing for him. And it's just, I think it just changed his life. And it shows the kind of things that we do, that kind of help me. But I thought this was really what I consider to be, and I think many of you would agree, is a real success story to move from being on the streets to having your own place. But the best thing was the way the community embraced him to make sure that he has an opportunity for success. So I thought that was worth sharing. So thank you for your support.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield to the planning department.
Yeah, thank you.
Follow that up.
I apologize for the time here. It's tough to follow.
Yeah.
Thank you for your leadership. Are there any questions for the housing department? All right, Mr. Tito.
Okay, thank you. So do we have time? No. On August 29th, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a special meeting to discuss the two proposed residential projects, the Willows and the Sunny Place condos. There were no agenda items for the September 3rd Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. On September 4th, the Historic District Commission provided Historic District architectural referral comments for 222 East Green Street. That's the Sunny Place condominium project. And that is a requirement as part of the compatible neighborhood overlay zone process. They reviewed the proposed demolition permit procedures, discussed preparation for the Celebrating America Fall History Expo on October 5th at Exploration Commons, and discussed the Historic District Inventory Project and the nation's 250th anniversary. On September 19th, the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled to hold a public hearing for the Sunny Place condominium project that is at 222 East Green Street. The one interesting element of this is that at the special hearing, the three-story building, which was proposing 48 market rate condos, the applicant came forward with a four-story option for 64 market rate condos. So it's two options will be before the Planning Commission for their public hearing for discussion. That completes my report.
Any questions for the planning department?
Mr. Depot, I'm disappointed that the Ravens moved training camp out of the city of Westminster, because I was going to suggest introducing an ordinance to require their wearing of white shoes for tight ends. But we're not going to have that authority now that they're no longer here.
We can propose it to the state.
Sim Halls?
We will move on to the finance department. Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. I do not have a report tonight. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Seeing none, we will move on to the police department. We've got Captain Peter with us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Captain Peter filling in for Chief Ludwell. The Westminster Police Department initiated a back-to-school traffic safety initiative in response to the Carroll County schools returning back to session on September 3rd, 2024. Our initiative involved education, awareness, and enforcement. The week prior to the start of the school, The police department used our social media page, specifically Facebook, to spread awareness of school buses being back on the road and student pedestrians crossing over the streets. We also utilized multiple verbal message signs throughout the city, announcing the start of the new school year and for drivers to be safe. Then on September 3rd through September 6th, officers from the police department conducted speed enforcement, crosswalk enforcement, and school bus safety enforcement throughout the school zones. This resulted in 26 traffic stops with 32 violations. One motorist was cited for passing a school bus at a bus stop on Royal Road, which was a $570 fine. That concludes our report.
Are there any questions for the police department? Mr. President, that concludes the departmental reports.
Thank you, Ms. Imholz. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to citizen comments, which is the final item on our agenda. It's where we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues pertaining to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. For citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send your comments via email to comments@westminstermd.gov. All comments received will be shared with the mayor and council. Commenters should include their address and phone number with their comments. We'll now invite comments from anyone present at this meeting. This is an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts and concerns with the mayor and council. Our role at this point is to listen to the comments and respond appropriately after consultation with staff and each other. Now, is there anyone here this evening that would like to be heard? Please state your name and address for the record. Sir?
Good evening, Richard Keene, I live at 20 Liberty Street, which is Westminster Square condominium. And my phone number is 443-821-3778. So just to recap, I was here with our management firm on May 28th, which is 3.5 months ago, where we asked that there could be some modification to this long-term parking lease that we have. We inherited. We asked that the 60 spaces that we pay for be signed. The lease does give us the right to put up signs if we will pay 150% of the monthly fee. So it would cost us $700 more a month just to put up signs. So we just feel like if we're paying for 60 spaces, we ought to have it. They ought to be ours. We also asked for relief from the annual maintenance fee. In the interim, following up, we got in touch with the city and was directed to Mark over here. He and I sat down for about 2 hours one afternoon a couple of weeks back. And he explained to me that a lot is driven by the site development plan property and also the city ordinance on parking. If I can condense it, it's a lot, but I think that it's like for residential development, you should have 2 parking spaces. And for commercial development, depends on the square footage and the use, type of use, whether it's an office or have customers coming in and so forth. So it's complicated, but based on that, we have a lease for 60 parking spaces. The agreement, development agreement with the city said that the developer had to provide at least 50. Somewhere along the line, the figure came up 60, which I presume was based on the site development plan. Somebody looked at that and said, so many units are going to be residential and so many floors are going to be commercial. The math works out to 60 or 68, perhaps. So that's where we are. But in the process meeting, I found out that there was or is a waiver process where you could, instead of providing the parking, pay $2,500 for each space that you should provide, plus an annual maintenance fee of $25 per space. So that waiver, if the developer exercised that or could, I'm not sure whether it would have been permitted or not, but I think it's out there, would have reduced the cost to us as unit owners. You could have added that $2,500 into the price he was selling the property for, and I'd be paying 2 spaces, I'd be paying $50 a month for 2 parking spaces and maintenance fee. that would, for the association, that would mean we would pay about $1,700 a year in the annual maintenance costs versus 17,000 that we now pay. So it's quite a big difference. Just want to point out that the payments that we pay to the city for the parking spaces is 24% of our total operating budget and expenses. So we have a very small surplus that we end up with at the end of the year. Some years we haven't had a surplus, but the building is aging. We're having to do more repairs and maintenance on the building, and we're trying to build up a reserve funds for any kind of long-term big expense like the roof. The roof is the biggest thing. Someday that roof is going to have to be replaced. So we need to build up the reserve for that. And I think Maryland law now requires that all kind of minimum associations do a reserve study to make sure they're building up the reserves for future expenses. We do that. So I'm here just to say that we're looking for an answer. We get 60 parking spaces. I just want to show you, here are 12 of the hang tags that are in this envelope, in this folder, in a file cabinet that we're paying for 20 years, and we don't use them. We don't need 60 parking spaces. They say in this envelope, in this folder, in the file cabinet. So we're paying for something we don't need. We'd like an answer. We think fair is fair. I'm aware that there are other deals around. We mentioned rock salt, for example. They have a sweetheart deal. I found out that the county library facility pays for their employees to park in the Longwell parking garage. They pay like $10 a month per employee to park there. It's a big difference from what we're paying and what we have to pay through the year 2034. It's a 30-year agreement. Rock salt agreement was a 1-year agreement, renewable each year. Weird. So our perspective at this point is this was a really smart deal for somebody and a really stupid deal for somebody else. And the association, union owners, weren't either of those parties. We didn't do this deal, and we would never have done it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. The staff and the mayor and council heard your comments, and after consultation and discussion with staff, someone will get back in touch with you. Okay, sir, you had something.
So, should I stand today?
It'd be great if you would stand, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I want to put my head.
That's okay. The tall ceiling.
My name is Hugh Meredith. I live at McDaniel College, College Hill. My phone number is 202-812-5268. I'm not coming here with a problem, quite the opposite. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I have a deep respect for public service workers. You guys are the lifeblood of communities across the country, and without you, we wouldn't really have as interactive of a community as we would see here. And it's a testament to your character, your love of community, and the people within it that you are sitting in the seats you are today, doing the work that you do. And I truly just want to thank you all. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You graduate, you need to go see Miss Impulse. Maybe she can give you some guidance in terms of how you can join the ranks here or somewhere else. Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be, I did not update my folder, will be the 23rd at 7 o'clock. Thank you for attending, and we are adjourned. We'll take a couple minute recess and then